Good morning students and Sairam. Welcome back once again. So in last video we revised history chapter number 2 New Kings and Kingdoms. In this video we will continue with this chapter and this is revision part 2. So in part 1 we revised, first of all, many new dynasties were emerged during the period of 7th to 12th century. And most of the Rajput rulers, they were regional in nature and always had fought with one another. Then we revised administration of the kingdoms. So now move on to the third topic. So our third topic is warfare for wealth. So first of all, students, you must have heard that rulers, they fought many battles in their life. Now, why they fought many battles in their life? First, in order to control over the large areas, right? In order to control over the large area. And the second reason, in order to gain more and more wealth. That's why they fought many battles in their life. Okay, to understand this topic, let's take an example of those dynasties who fought for expansion and as well as wealth. So can you see this map on your screen? First of all, here are the list of the dynasty who fought for expansion and as well as wealth. First, Gurjar Pratihara, second Pala and Rashtrakut. So basically this map showing the region which was under the control of Gurjar Pratihara, Pala and Rashtrakut. So first, Gurjar Pratihara. So Gurjar Pratihara basically ruled over the Malwa, present day in Rajasthan. Then second, Pala. So Pala ruled over the Bengal. And last one is Rashtrakut. So Rashtrakut basically ruled over the western Deccan part, present day in Maharashtra. Clear? So these three dynasties, they fought with each other to control over the Kannauj. And Kannauj, present day, it is located in Uttar Pradesh. Where? In Uttar Pradesh. So basically Kannauj was a kind of place and commercially very, very important place. At that time, Kannauj was considered the symbol of power. Clear? At that time, Kannauj was considered the symbol of power. And later, this position acquired by Delhi. Now, the second thing about the Kannauj. So, Kannauj, it is located in North India. And as you all know, this is very fertile region and also suitable for agriculture. So, third thing is, it is rich resources of trade as well as agriculture. That's why Gurjar Pratihara, Pala and Rashtrakut, they compete with each other to control over the Kannauj region. They compete, they struggle. So the struggle between them, the Gurjar Pratihara, Pala and Rashtrakut, this struggle in history were known as tripartite struggle. Clear? This struggle in history were known as tripartite struggle. Now tripartite struggle because in this struggle three parties were involved. First Gurjar Pratihara, Pala and Rashtrakut. That's why it was called tripartite struggle. Clear? These three dynasties, they fought with each other to control over the Kannauj. And slowly and gradually, this struggle weakened their power. Clear? Now, move on to the next example. Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni. So first of all, Ghazni. Ghazni is a place in Afghanistan. And Mahmud Ghazni, he just ruled over the Central Asia and Iran. Basically at that time, the disunity between the Indians encouraged Mahmud of Ghazni to invade over the India. And do you know, students, He raided India 17 times. How many times? 17 times he invaded India. Between 1000 AD and 1027 AD. He plundered, or we can say he looted, he plundered many cities and palaces like the Kannauj and Mathura. But his main target were the wealthy temples. His main target were the wealthy temples. So he targeted wealthy temples, included, for example, the most famous Somnath temple in Gujarat. Where is Somnath temple? Somnath temple, it is in Gujarat. So he looted wealth from there and then he went back his place. Muhammad Ghazni, he used this massive wealth that he carried from India to build a magnificent capital at Ghazni. Actually, when he went back his place, he want somebody wrote about the account of subcontinent, Indian subcontinent. So for that, he hired a scholar. He hired a scholar named Al-Biruni. So Al-Biruni, he was a scholar who wrote about the Indian subcontinent. So Al-Biruni wrote Kitab al-Hind. Who wrote Kitab al-Hind? Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni wrote Kitab al-Hind, and this basically gave us a lot of information about the Indian culture and society. Clear? Now, move on to the next example. Other kings, those who were engaged in warfare, include Chahamanas. So other kings, those who were also engaged in warfare, include Chahamanas, and Chahamanas later they were known as Chauhans. Clear? Now Chauhans, they just ruled over the Delhi and Ajmer. They also expand their region to the west and east. So they were opposed by Chalukyas of Gujarat and the Gandwalas of the western Uttar Pradesh, while they attempting to extend, or we can say extend their region or to control to the west and east. Now the best known Chauhan or Chahamana ruler were the Prithviraj III, and his time period started from 1168 to 1192. Prithviraj Chauhan defeated an Afghan ruler Sultan Mahmud Ghori in 1191 in the First Battle of Tehran. So in this battle, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Afghan ruler, that means Muhammad Ghori. But in the next year, Prithviraj Chauhan lost to him in the next year, that means in the second battle of the Tehran, which was fought in the year of 1192. And after Chauhans, Muslim rulers came into the power. Is it clear? Okay, so now move on to the next topic. So the next topic, a closer look, the Cholas. Okay, so Chola dynasty. So who were they? First of all, they were not rulers. Clear? Cholas, they were not the real rulers. Basically, initially, rather than they were the subordinates or the Samant. Cholas, they were not the real rulers initially. They were the Samant or the subordinates. As we discussed in the previous part, who were the Samant or subordinates? Big landlords or the warrior chief, right? Those who working under the existing rulers. So Cholas, they were also the subordinates under the Pallav kings of Kanchipuram. So Pallav ruled in South India, basically Kanchipuram, and Chola, they just ruled in Urayur, just like a Samant or the subordinates. But one day Vijayalaya, he was the Chola chief, or we can also say he was the founder of Chola Empire. So one day Vijayalaya from the Urayur captured the Kaveri Delta from the Muttrayar of the middle of the 9th century. Then the successors of Vijayalaya conquered the neighboring regions such as Pandya and the Pallav territories to the south and the north. So slowly and gradually a small kingdom Chola built a huge empire. Now the territories of Pandya and the Pallav was under the control of Chola Empire. The most powerful Chola ruler was the Rajaraj first. The most powerful Chola ruler was Rajaraj first. Next is splendid temples and bronze sculpture. So the big temples of Thanjavur and Gangaikonda Cholapuram built by Rajaraj and Rajendra, right? So there were various economic, social and cultural activities associated with the Chola temples. Now next, how did the Chola rulers improve agriculture and irrigation? So first of all, many of the achievements of the Cholas were made possible through the new developments in agriculture. Although agriculture had developed earlier in the other parts of Tamil Nadu too, it was only from the 5th and 6th century that this area was opened up for the large scale cultivation. So first, forest had to be cleared in some region, and in the delta region, embankments had to be built to prevent flooding and canals had to be constructed to carry waters to the field. In many areas at that time, 2 crops were grown. So in many cases, it was necessary to water crops artificially. So a variety of methods they were used for irrigation. Like in some areas, wells were dug. In other areas or other places, huge tanks were constructed to collect water. Clear? But remember that irrigation works required planning, organizing labor and resources, maintaining these works and deciding on how water is to be shared. So most of the new rulers as well as possible people living in villages took an active interest in these activities. Clear? Okay, now move on to the next. Do you know? Basically, here are the list of the types of lands. So Chola inscriptions mention several categories of land. First, Velenvegai. So Velenvegai basically land of non-Brahmins. Clear? Velenvegai land of non-Brahman peasants. Second, Brahmadaya. So Brahmadaya land gifted to the Brahmins. Velenvegai non-Brahmins and Brahmadaya Brahmins, land gifted to the Brahmins. Now third one is Shalabhog. Shalabhog, land for the maintenance of a school. Land given for the maintenance of a school. Then next, Devdan. So land gifted to the temples. Devdan, land gifted to the temples. And the last one is the Pali Chandam. So Pali Chandam, land donated to the Jain institution. Clear? So here are the list of the types of land, And Chola inscription mentioned the several categories of land: Velanvegai, land of non-Brahmins; Brahmadya, land gifted to the Brahmins; Shala Bhog, land for the maintenance of a school; Devdan, land gifted to the temples; and last, Pali Chandam, land donated to the Jain institution. Clear? Now, move on to the next. Chola administration. So first, settlements of peasants called Skur became very prosperous with the spread of irrigation and agriculture. Rich landowners handled important offices of the state at the center. Grants of land to the Brahmins were looked after the assembly or the Sabha. Clear? The grants of land, the lands given to the Brahmins, were looked after by an assembly or Sabha of the prominent Brahman landholders. Association. So the traders associations were known as Nagaram. Clear? The traders association of the traders were known as Nagaram, and occasionally they performed administrative functions in town. Sabha looked after the Brahmadya, the land given to the Brahmins. Sabha had separate committees to look after irrigation work, temple, charity, etc. etc. Now, members of the Sabha or assembly, they got elected through a lucky draw. So this is all about the Chola administration. Now at last, points to remember. So as I told you, many new dynasties were emerged in Indian subcontinent during the period of 7th to 12th century. Okay, so here are the list of the important dynasty. First, Gurjar Pratihara. So Gurjar Pratihara, they just ruled over the Rajasthan, mainly Malwa. Gurjar Pratihara, they just ruled over the Rajasthan, mainly Malwa. Then Rashtrakoot. So Rashtrakoot ruled over the Western Deccan and present day Maharashtra. Present day Maharashtra. Then Chola rulers. So Chola rulers, they just ruled from Ureya to Thanjore. That means they ruled over the Tamil Nadu. Then Pala rulers. So Pala, they just ruled over the Bengal. Then after that, Chalukyas. Chalukyas, they just ruled over the Karnataka. Clear? Chalukyas, they just ruled over the Karnataka. And next one is the Pallavs. The Pallavs, they just ruled over Kanchipuram in South India. Okay, now let's locate all these important dynasties on the political map of India. So here is the map work. Locate and label the following: Gurjar Pratihara, Pala, Cholas, Rashtrakoot, and next one is the Chauhan. So first of all, Gurjar Pratihara. So Gurjar Pratihara, they just ruled over the Malwa, present day in Rajasthan. So where we have to mark? In Rajasthan. Then Pala. So Pala, they just ruled over the Bengal. Cholas, they just ruled over the Tamil Nadu region. Then Rashtrakoot, so they just ruled over the Western Deccan part. So present day it is in Maharashtra. Then Chauhans. So Chauhans, they were ruled over the Delhi and Ajmer. So Ajmer, present day in Rajasthan. So can you identify the present day states over which they exercised control over there? Okay, so let's mark on the political map of the India. So first one is the Gurjar Pratihara. So as I said, Gurjar Pratihara, they just ruled over the Malwa, and Malwa, present day in Rajasthan. So you have to mark like this, then draw arrow and then write Gurjar Pratihara. Clear? Gurjar Pratihara, they just ruled over the Malwa. Malwa, present day in Rajasthan. Now next, Pala. So Pala, ruled over the Bengal. Clear? Pala. So here is West Bengal. So this part was under the Pala at that time. The next, Chola rulers. So Chola, they just ruled over the Tamil Nadu. So mark like this, then draw arrow and write here Chola. Chola in Tamil Nadu. The next one, Rashtrakoot. So Rashtrakoot, they just ruled over the large part of Western Deccan. Clear? This is the western part of India. So Western Deccan, present day in Maharashtra. So where is Maharashtra? So just mark like this and then draw arrow and write here Rashtrakuts. Clear? The next one is Chauhans or Chahamanas. So Chauhans, they just ruled over the Ajmer and Delhi. And where is Ajmer? So it is also in Rajasthan. So right here Chauhans. Is it clear? I hope that now you all are able to identify the present day states where they exercised control. Clear? So now what you have to do, you have to practice this map at your home. So that's it for today. Till then, bye. Have a great day. Take care and keep learning.